This is Bubble Tea Time, and this is Brian speaking, your lovely host. I'm joined by three analysts. Hello, Mr. Dan Z, back from Brazil. How was your trip?
Oh, long and arduous, but I'm back. I've gotten my sleep. Hopefully, I stay up late enough so that I don't actually suffer from the jet lag.
All right. You heard it here first. Dan Z actually rigged every game so that Fnatic would win. So,
Wait a sec.
classic Dan Z
If you wrote the
behavior.
script for that finals, I'm okay with it.
Reckless isn't even on the team anymore, all right? Come on,
Wait.
actually he is. Yeah. But, yeah, wrong sport, Dan's. Come on.
Oh.
Alongside Dan, we have Chase Pentamaster. Hello, Chase. No webcam,
Hello.
I see.
Not this time, sorry.
You're robbing the fans of your lovely hair and plants.
Sorry. That's true, yeah.
Mostly the
Especially
plants.
No, I apologize.
And then finally, we have James, Mr. Satan. Hello, Mr. Satan.
Hello.
I guess that term is actually a term of endearment for you. Atypical of most human beings, but you take what you can get. All right, Let's move on. It's our first bubble tea time in a few weeks, so we're gonna do a little bit of match recap. One of these games hasn't been played yet. I'm gonna go to that one last. We're gonna talk about the games that have been played. So in week 8, we had a slate of 4 games so far. The first is AR versus MBB. I'm gonna lean on you, Mr. Satan, to give me the rundown of how AR took home the dub, considering you are the AR superstar after all.
I wouldn't call myself the superstar in this one. This was the second game this week that ASOL got picked, and Vid pulled that one out for the first time after we got slaughtered by it the week prior. And MBB had a great counter ready in Aurelia, and Twansville piloted that exceptionally well. Got a pretty good early CS lead and gold advantage mid, but not knowing MBB's complete strategy, ours was knowing Vid was going to get kind of pinched. Coco and I ganked mid a lot and kind of focused on alleviating some of the pressure there. And we drafted Xayah Morgana bottom lane because we knew there was going to be a lot of pressure bot, and that Elise and Man Butts needed to be able to just kind of insulate themselves and survive those dives, which Xayah and Morgana are very good at doing. So luckily we are kind of able to stave off some of the early MBB aggression, scale with ASOL, Urgot, and Nocturne, and Nocturne plus ASOL is a pretty potent combo when Nocturne turns off the lights and you have no idea where the big dragon's flying in from. And we were able to pull out the win despite an early deficit.
Good for you as a critical win as well, because you guys are squarely in the middle of the playoff picture. And we'll see after week 9 where you guys end up, because it's kind of a logjam there right now. So we're hinging on a lot of games in week 9 to really figure out what the whole picture looks like. But week 8, we're still on that. GB versus TSC. Dan's, give me the rundown. I don't even know if you watched this game. You're in Brazil. Did you actually watch this game?
I did actually watch this game. This is one of the few games I watched from Brazil. So not that much dedication. But overall, the story of this game was, once again, we see an ASOL. This time, it falls behind early quite significantly. But Emprix and Karasaki Ace on the top side really were able to sync up on the Renekton Sejuani combo onto Chashu Ramen and Michipu. But the shout out for me of the game was Schluckabeer on the Zyra, roaming and buying so much space with the pick. Honestly blowing people up because Zyra does so much damage as a support. And GB was able to secure a win off of just nice zone control with their team.
Their 4th win of the season and not their last. We'll see that soon enough. Additionally, there was a game between RB and THD. I'm the one assigned to it, so I'll talk about it. We broke a 4-game losing streak, so that's a plus. And we also broke THD's 4-game winning streak, so I think it was just destiny, honestly. But yeah.
Can't just say that to THD that it was destiny.
Yeah, unfortunate. I mean, destiny can go, up or down, and for them it went down. For us, it went a little bit up. We're still, not in a very good spot. We're 3-5, but I think there may be a small glimpse of us making playoffs, pending next week's game, which is a tall order. So we'll talk about that in a bit. But the game itself, went pretty nicely. Like it was maybe a little sloppy from both ends, but we had some good team fights. We had some big Jarvan ults, big Annie ults, really nice Bard ults. Like McCallus played really well on the top side as our sub. His sign was unkillable. It was just a game once we got a little bit of a foothold, and and we were able to like actually get on side lanes. We were able to kind of like run down with Baron. They couldn't really stop us. And that was that. So, okay. And then finally, from week 8, we had Deep Dive versus EXO, a game I did not see, and no one is assigned to, apparently, according to the doc right now. So, who wants to take that one? Anyone? Anyone?
So
All right.
I actually just skimmed through it really fast.
All
so
right.
I'll do my best on it. But from what I can tell, I mean, Deep Dive, doing deep dive things. But aside from that, the game actually looked really like even for the most part in the beginning. It was like blow for blow. Deep Dive would get a kill, and then EXO would get a kill, and it just kept going back and forth and back and forth. But then there's a gank bot lane that happens, and Deep Dive gets up 2 kills, and they also start stacking dragons, and so they kind of just like rolled the game or snowballed the game after that. And then there was a Baron fight, which kind of sealed EXO's fate after that, and Deep Dive just ran down with the Baron buff. But I will say that Mina looked really good in the game. She was making a lot of plays happen with J4, at least from what little I saw. But and also the J4 and Rumble combo was working pretty well.
Yeah, I want to jump in there. The J4 highlight the number of times I'm remembering mid to late game, she'd blow Jinx flash and then immediately drop ult and walk away once Jinx flashes down. And the second her ulti was off cooldown again, EQ ult the Jinx and the Rumble ult comes on top of it, and it was just like almost uncounterable by EXO and would set them off on the right foot. And the other thing about DD here that I think is impressive is their bot lane continues to show versatility with the Senna Seraphine lane with Fire Knight on the Seraphine, which is after, kind of getting focused and getting his Ashe or his Varus taken away a lot of times, being able to pivot and kind of have this, complete alternative pick and going the Senna Seraphine lane is, good impressive versatility coming out of that bottom lane, and shows DD's got more than just generic strats going into playoffs.
Nice. Well, they're going in playoffs. Certainly as the 1 seed, considering no one could even dream of catching them. I mean, even probably a week or 2 ago, honestly. So good luck to them in the playoffs. I would say back in the day, they'll need it to beat the 1st seed curse, but we had that broken last season by SB already, so it looks like they're just the favorites. They're just the favorites, all right. All right, let's move on to Dan's stats. No more of this imposter Satan stats.
Yeah.
Not sure where that went, but
Yeah.
hello, Mr. Dans. You're back.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
You're back. Better than ever.
Immediately show my bias by putting my brother up on Dan's stats.
Oh my god, this again.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting indeed.
Someone dial up Mr. Satan. I think we need to make some changes here.
Cough. I didn't make these decisions. These decisions were made by somebody
Suspicious.
else. So, but highlighting Man Puppet versus Bear Rock, EXO versus SB, a game that pretty much is gonna have huge implications for who gets to have 2nd seeding in the playoffs. So if SB win, they end up 5 and could end up 6 and 3 at best, depending their matchup against PO. That got pushed back.
We talked about that. Oh well, fuck it.
Yeah, so that matchup got pushed back, and now we're talking about it. So that's why this matchup is relevant. But Man Puppet on EXO has been pretty good so far this season. I think he's been silently just being really, really consistent in the game, and just playing his role as needed for his team.
All right, well, we'll see who gets the better of the jungle matchup. Honestly, let's just skip PO versus SB. Fuck it, it didn't happen yet. We're just gonna go predictions because we don't have a pretty graphic for PO SB anyways. So you get to talk about PO down here anyway, Chase. Let's just open up with it. MBB versus PO. It's a little split here, and even though we usually don't have you talk about your own team, we're gonna have you talk about your own team, Chase.
Okay, all right.
How's this gonna go? MBB PO. I mean, obviously you think you're gonna win, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
I haven't played a whole lot in about a month. Pretty washed, and I already wasn't good to begin with. So we're gonna, we'll see how this goes.
Wait, I can't read the graphic, but who's the best predictor right now?
It's you.
Oh,
Could read it the whole time, idiot.
Okay.
It's because I never get to predict my own team, honestly.
And the reason that I'm near 50-50 is because I predict every single team,
Wait, Ryan,
every single
I'm the
matchup.
only one that predicted RB this week.
Hey, look, I appreciate that. And look, somebody has to stop them from going 9-0, right? Somebody. Unfortunately, it's up to us, so we'll see. But we are on a 1-game win streak.
Oh, okay.
Think about that. Boom.
Bro.
So, yeah, we'll work on it. But all right, look at those PO MBB predictions. It looks like a 3-2 vote. We'll see how that goes. We'll take Chase as the one that already talked about it. So let's move on to something else. Since it kind of already happened, let's just talk about THD GB real quick. Why not? We only had one THD voter. Their picture looks very sad, and I guess rightfully so. I guess I can only phrase this as why are you sad, Mr. Staten?
Well, because it makes my predictions even worse than they already were. But I thought, well, to put it bluntly, THD kicked the shit out of us when they played us, and we beat GB, and I felt a very controlled game. So I voted based on my my record and experience against them. But GB told me to shut up and show me what's what, and beat the crap out of them. So good on them.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to me actually. This game, I want to talk a little bit more about this because this was a game that was pretty important for playoff implications. You know what I mean? Like both these teams were sitting at 4-4, kind of a big deal. However, THD did a bunch of interesting things this game. They really insult top, which I think we saw coming when we picked Band against them because he's literally like 11-0 on a really insult and solo queue. So there's that on a really insult top. But also like they switched their mid bot after a bunch of mid bans. They moved Maze Mecha to the bot lane on Nautilus and put Asian Problems in mid, who had a really nice game. They did a lot of unique things in a game that mattered quite a lot. Like, what do you think? What do you think about that in general? I guess for the whole room, like, do you think it was just them experimenting, saying, "Hey, we most likely lock playoffs, like time to do whatever and test out what works," or do you think that actually gave them the highest chance to win? They didn't sub anybody, so what do you guys think about that? What's your take, Dance?
Honestly, I think it shows some guts that they're willing to show that that they have another different strategy in the books, particularly coming into playoffs. So it will now add a little monkey wrench for teams going against THG that now need to think, oh, do I have to take into account the possible Angela moving into mid lane? Despite the fact that they did lose, I think that just gives them a chance to test it out against teams before it significantly impacts their season. It might come back to bite them if they end up not making upper bracket, but I think it's a calculated risk.
Ace, do you think they had a higher chance of winning with the current, the setup that they had against GB today, or do you think they actually had a higher chance of winning if they just stuck to their bread and butter? Maybe put Maze Mecha on a mage or something or whatever in the mid lane, kept Angela on the bot side. Do you think it was the right call?
I actually don't think it was. I think if I was in their position, instead of role swapping, because there were how many mid lane bans?
4.
I forget. 4. Yeah. 4, so I mean, Maze Mecha was getting super targeted, right? But I think instead of role swapping from what you've played the whole season, you should just try to put Maze Mecha on another champ that they might not be super comfortable with, and then maybe you could something that you could build a different team comp out of, right? I think I would rather go getting out of the what I'm comfortable with. I would rather go with putting my mid laner on a champion they're not comfortable with, rather than putting my mid laner my support mid lane.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna defend the THD pick here. I like
let's do it.
The swap they did where they had Vel'Koz, Xerath, Syndra banned first rotation and then Veigar banned second rotation. And I'm a fan. They were on a 4-game win streak before this, I think, or 3 or 4. They were on a real hot streak. And
before the RB games, gotta put that out there. Boom.
Yeah, and then but it was true. God, y'all broke the win streak. Well, TLDR, I thought they were going in hot, and I thought both Angela and Maze Mecha looked good on those picks. The only thing I dislike is I think they showed this early. because I think you get to playoffs, and with the season Maze Mecha has had and the damage numbers he puts out, if you look at like his gold efficiency and like damage per gold, he's one of the top 3 in the league, having an absolute blowout season on these control mages. And you dump 3 bans into him in playoffs, and then they just say, haha, he's support now. Like, that could absolutely throw people off in the prep pick ban in playoffs. So I think, like, I love the idea. I just think they showed it too early. This is something they should have kept in their back pocket for playoffs when he's getting targeted heavily during pick ban phases. But oh well.
All right. Well, we'll see. They still have that's their last game, so we'll see who their opponent is. Because maybe maybe you're right. Maybe now their opponent has a little bit more of an inkling on what's possible for THD, and maybe we'll shoot them in the foot. Or maybe maybe they just get the value out of the pick ban, and that's all they needed with a swap. And now that they have that value, they can just play the games out. Maze Mecha might have a little bit more free time without so many bans flying in. All right, TSC versus AR. Predictors are split 3 versus 2. 3 to TSC, 3 to AR and 2 to TSC. We'll talk to you, Mr. Chase, a TSC devotee. What's the winning formula here?
What is the winning formula? I don't remember when I put this, to be honest. But
Understandable.
You're clearly delirious.
Yeah. No, I think I don't know. TSC's like pretty deadly. Like, I guess when everybody's, I guess, doing their part, and they don't have any major holes. But I think Plo versus Coco would be interesting. That would be something I'm kind of worried about, but I don't think Coco really give Plo too much. But I think what I'm more interested in is the Javi versus Vid mid matchup. Because I think that if Javi gets ahead in mid, I think he could snowball a game. I felt like I would never say that, but I'm
Wow.
saying it now.
Aggressive.
But look, his troll picks sometimes they just work out. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I think if Javi gets ahead and then just like puts a little bit more pressure around the map, then it would be pretty dangerous for TS or for AR.
Yeah, I mean, when they were winning at the start of the season, people thought TSC is for real. Javi was really hot in those games, like on the Kassadin, etc. Ever since then, they've dropped to 3 and 5, tied with RB for 7th place. It's been a rough go of it ever since the first couple weeks. So, if they have a revival, it could very well be on the back of Javier. So we'll see how that goes. We're gonna skip RB versus Deep Dive because I accidentally called on Chase for this one. I had to call on Chase for that one, obviously. So we're gonna skip to SB versus Exco and call on Mr. Dan Z. This is also terrible because you're a shill for your brother. So honestly, like, god damn it. But we'll talk about it. Why will SB win other than the fact that it has your brother on the team?
I've said this before, and a big fan of solo queue. I think he's been very pivotal in their wins. I recall seeing the Annie support matchup just blowing people up. I believe, who was that against? Doesn't
I think
matter.
it's against us.
Oh, probably.
Probably.
But I do think that solo queue and Misa have a lot of synergy now, and also
we really
Enderism.
just had to end up mentioning Misha.
There it is. I was waiting for it.
Wow.
I was waiting for it.
But also Enderism has had a hell of a season so far, and I think this is a match.
Especially when Misa ganks his lane, right?
No,
Especially when Misa ganks his
he
lane.
doesn't need to, man. The guy
man.
plays Sage like a monster. So I expect really good things coming from Enderism and solo queue. And those are my biggest reasons, actually. Misa is
Alright.
is down in the tertiary reason why they would win.
Yeah, I mean, this game could be pivotal for a lot of reasons. Even if PO beats SB, and pushes SB to 4 and 4, it's still a 5-3 matchup and a 4-4 matchup. Like, if SB wins this one, they'll have the head-to-head against EXO. If SB comes into this one 5 and 3, then whoever wins is just second place outright. This matchup is probably the highlight of the week. Like, it could determine a lot of stuff on the top side of the table. So we'll see where it brings us. And speaking of a matchup that it could sneakily be somewhat pivotal for the playoff standings, I'm not sure mathematically if it would be because there's so many like random scenarios that could happen. But RB versus Deep Dive. Deep Dive is the clear favorite here. They're on 8-0. win streak right now, and there's only one team that can stop them in the regular season, and it's RB. Will we? I don't know. Chase seems to think that we will, which is honestly, Chase, I think you should probably get some help. But if you are right, why will you be right?
Okay. Look. I said it before. Okay, and I'll say it again. I think I said it last season. Didn't say it this season. But when Brian is on a team, his teams usually are questionable in the beginning, and then they become like Thanos at the end. It didn't really happen this season.
I've
Okay,
heard this
but
song and dance before several times from Chase. Wait a second.
but
It didn't happen
I
last season
still
either. I'm just putting that
I
out there.
still
It did
have
happen 2
some.
seasons before that, I
Hey,
guess.
yeah,
But
it
yeah,
did. Yeah, it did.
it's been a
Okay.
bit. It's been a bit.
All right, but I'm still look. There's a little glimpse of hope right there. Okay, and I'm grasping onto it with everything that I can. Also, I just need you to win so that way the perfect season is ruined. Um,
I think that's the real reason, honestly. Come on. We can't none of us here can allow a perfect season to happen on our watch, okay? Like, come on, guys. We can't
uh,
let that happen.
I'm actually really interested to see the Mina Man matchup in the jungle.
Mhm.
While I do think that the Misa Man puppet matchup is going to be really good, I think that the Mina um, Man matchup is also going to be like right behind it in terms
Look,
of
the
like
stats
entertaining
don't
to
look
watch.
well against each other. That's why they weren't selected.
Oh, okay,
Stats aren't
okay.
everything, Dan's.
I
Yeah, what the
know.
heck?
Mr.
I
Satan
know.
would have known that. Mr. Satan would have known that.
I
He looked at the
I did know
context.
that.
But yeah, we will see how that one goes. I mean, obviously it's going to be uphill climb for RB, but hey, we're on a +1 streak. We lost 4 games in a row and fixed some of our problems. So, this game, I think the game is actually scheduled quite a way out next Tuesday. So both teams have quite a while to prep for this. We're hoping that our prep leads us to the right place and we can really hit our stride. I think as a team, we're a really weird team right now. Even compared to all the other teams in BTL, we have even when we practice, we have streaks where we're like all just so bad and like don't know how to work together, and then we have streaks where we I think we have just as many games that we win before like 20 minutes as we have games that we win like after 40 minutes. Some games that we lose, we just we never really lose in 20 minutes, but we lose in like 30. Like it's just yeah, it's just so weird. We're a team that's really good at early game, really good at late game, really, really unimaginably bad in between. So, here's hoping we fix the in between by playoffs, even if we don't beat deep dive here, who knows? By playoffs. That's the preach.
Deidre, are you listening? Pick mid game champs. You'll win.
Yep, there you go.
Oh god, mid game champ.
All right. We got some questions here. Let's hit them. Okay, they're both from Tate. So here we go. Number 1 question for Brian. That's me. Will RB finally humble deep dive? My RB answer for all the RB people here, yes. For everybody else, cross your fingers. All right.
Hey, everybody else except Chase.
Hey, everybody else has got to be at least cheering for us. All right, come on. We have to end an 8-0 streak. Can you imagine how much mental damage that'll do to every team facing them that they're going against a 9-0 team? Actually, I feel like if you lose the last regular season game and you go into playoffs, that could actually wreck your mental too. I think we've had that happen before, where people have had a crazy regular season, lost the last game of the regular season, and then crumbled in playoffs. I'm just trying to throw more spice into the pot. Maybe it happens, but realistically, I think it's a hard road for us. We'll see how that goes.
So what you're saying is last season we're the only reason SB won because we gave them a defeat first week of the season,
Yes, you
and then
messed
they
it
went
up.
undefeated.
It's the
so
other
they
way
didn't have the mental
around.
block.
It's the other way around, Mr. Satan. What have we told you, old man? All right. Question from Tate again for Brian, which is also me. What will you be picking mid lane from your champion Ocean against Deep Dive? Sincerely, not to Daniel. Honestly, I don't even know what my ocean is anymore. I don't know if it's actually an ocean or a lake or a puddle. So we'll get there at the same time you get there, I'm sure. So we'll see. I mean, I play Annie, I guess now. All right. Q from Poe. Why is PO gonna make the biggest comeback in BTL history? I'm gonna give this one a Chase. What's up?
Oh fuck. Yeah. Anyone else? Anyone else wanna answer this?
Oh, I got it. I got it.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Chase is gonna have a comeback so he can speedrun the rest of the season with wins, with quick 2-0s, so that he can go and play more Valorant.
Yep. I like that answer. We'll go with that. No, I mean, so I wasn't there for it, but apparently PO did a little role swappage there, and it worked out pretty well. So I'm just really gonna bank on that. That's what's gonna lead us to victory. And all it took was 7 weeks.
Hey,
But
Walker in the Jungle won a championship. You
That's
know, and I
true.
know very
That's
In
well.
true.
Neo, wait a second. I've seen this
Yeah,
story
yeah.
before.
You've seen it. And he had to lane swap to that role to do that,
That's
right?
true. Yeah,
I'm just
that is
saying,
true.
history repeats itself, and it might just take 2 seasons. All right, next question from Gerg. Question for stream. Who was the best sub to play 2 games at support on PO this season? James, can you answer this question?
Who are the subs who have played on Pio this season? God, like that's a
No,
very
no, no, no,
loaded
no, no, no.
question. I
Sub to play 2 games on support on PO this season.
Oh, I see. This is a very leading question.
Uh-huh.
Let's see where it's going. I don't
You
know. I
know,
think he works at Riot. His name
It's
starts
me.
with a G.
yeah,
It's
it's
me.
Dang.
Dan's.
It's actually me.
Kono Dan's Da. All right. Well, those are all the questions we have. Let's hit the standings. Boom. Standings. Uh, we've seen this for I'm gonna say a few weeks, but like a lot of weeks now. There's deep dive very at the very tippity top. And then everybody else in one gigantic clusterfuck. All right. That's pretty much it. All you got to see for standings. We'll see how this actually shakes out after week 8 technically and week 9 resolved because we still have 1 game in week 8. And there honestly could be a lot of shakeups here. Like some teams could go up and down here. AR is at 4-4. SB could be at 4-4 after this next game. There's a lot of things that could happen here. So we'll see how it breaks down. We'll try our very hardest with tiebreakers to try to slot people into the right spots. And we'll see how the playoff bracket breaks out. But yeah, I think PO can still potentially make it to the upper bracket. I'm not sure. You could win both and go 4-5, and everybody else could go 4-5 maybe. There might be a gigantic tie with you guys in it. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. MBB, on the other hand, is a little doomed. They have 6 losses, so that guarantees that they will be bottom 4. Where that bottom 4, we'll see. PO might actually tie them, be a little worse than them even. Who knows? So we'll see how it goes. But thanks to everybody for watching. Any last comments from Mr. Dan's, Mr. Pentamaster? That was Mayo speaking, but Pentamaster and Mr. Satan. Anything you guys want to say before we sign off?
No,
Okay.
I don't really have a whole lot. Tune
Alright.
in for this week and last week's a little bit later match.
The lucky
also
viewers
that's
get
happening
2
tomorrow.
more PO games. It's crazy.
Oh, there we
Oh,
go.
it's
2
true.
games in 1 week.
And 2 PO games with Pentamaster back in the support role.
Oh, he's here.
Yep. That's me.
That's you. All
I don't
right.
know if
Well,
Mitch is watching, but if he doesn't ban Evelyn, I won't ban Twitch. So
ooh.
let's have that. Let's have the fun invisible jungle matchup.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dan's Pentamaster, Mr. Satan, and thank you, all of our lovely viewers. We'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Bye.